And I've been busy looking, and all of a sudden my video, this is going to be this part two of a two-parter, and I think it's the 19th today. And here's where it goes. We were talking about chess pieces, okay? And now I forget again which one the bishop is and which one the knight is, but the horse becomes the dragon. The bishop is the one with the slice in his mouth. Maybe he could be where the SIM card goes. I'm not really sure. The number for the knight is 6 and 9 equals 6. The number for bishop, okay, equals 6. The number for queen equals 8. The number for king equals 5. That means the 5 goes center to 2, 4, 6, 8, which is the king's crown. Bishop gets 6 and knight gets 6. That means 2 6-point stars going 2 different ways, creating a total of 8. But to create the 8, they're using 12 to create 8. 2 6-point stars going over each other. Same 12. But they're only using 6 and 6 of each. Okay? Or, in all actuality, what they actually have different is this one is only 2 different from this one, and this one is 2 different from this one. This one would be 2 and 8, and this one would be 4 and 6. Those are the only 2 difference between the 2. So the actuality, the 4 corners, are 4. That's it. 5 minus 8, 5 plus 8 is 13 and 3. 16, which brings the light. 13, 12, 21 creates the cube. This creates the cube. This creates your soul and connecting crown. You need a connecting crown because that's what connects all the signals together. The signals are nothing without the final end. 39 is total. 13, 13, 13. The only thing I wanted to say is this, is on 2 of the cards, okay, on 2 of the chess pieces, okay, I saw this. This is definitely inside of the explanation of numbers in roulette, and it shows up at 19, which is connecting to the moon, and shows up as 23 inside the creation of the body. Okay, the 11, the crown, or whatever, which one it is. 5 and 8. Electric company, 8 by 5, 8 plus 5 is 53. 53, 35, electric company creates 2 hearts. 55 is the double nickel, and it's the double nickel because number 59, which I mentioned before, 5 and 9 is 14, equals to 73. 73 is the number to Nibiru. We get this number if you take a look at 28, which is the time heaven, connecting the AC power up to who we are. 26 is the body, and it has absolutely no spirit, and 29 comes with the heart. The beaver, 2 upside down from each other, makes 1. You have to invert yourself to fit yourself. I forget in which reason why that was, but I'm quite sure you're all smart and someone will figure it out for themselves, or let's just share it with each other. Did you know the more we share, the faster we grow? If everybody's telling a secret, they're all working apart and no one can trust. But just share what you know and we'll decide whether we want to use the information. The pawn, the rook, 32 pieces on a 64 board. 50-50, right? 50-50? No. There's 32 pieces and 32 pieces where you get to put your pieces on top of the white, which goes on top of the brown. So now you have 2 colors, or whatever 2 colors you want to choose. You have 2 colors plus 64 spots plus 32 pieces. So you have 64 different pieces, which are 32. So you got 32, 16, and 16. 757. That is the electric energy you have. Those are the 3 departments of thought. 114, Abraham. 42, 156, the calling of the wolf, 56. Sometimes you have 56. Sometimes you have a total of, what is the other number? Why I'm saying this is because 95, okay, you put a 5 here and a 1 here. That would be Mars. 51 connects Mars, but only 55 will reconnect the same area. 5 and 5. And that's always Jupiter. That's inside where the heart is. Where is the double nickel heart? Isn't that inside where your beater goes? What is the beat to the drum inside your own body? 26, 29. But really and truthfully, you see these numbers were made to turn upside down as 62 and 90. And 90, which one? Is this the 5 that goes this way? Or is it the 7? Because when a 2 is not written properly, it looks like 67 and 97. So there becomes the question. And now there's another question that I'm asking, and I would like to show you. And the question is like this. The number 2, if you ever take a look at it, they also use it for the queen. They show a tail. The number 2 can also be made, or a circle can also be made with the 2 on it by just adding this S, spirit, onto what was actually a half of the circle, turning into the 2. I know I'm all over the place. Inside of the bunny ears on the king in one of the game's pieces that were made, there was an X because 24,911 lives in the center, and it's like, ah, what's first? I'm jumping in. Doesn't matter what the computer chooses. It's always on the go. So we were going back to this where the diamonds, I think, were on the kings and the queens, meaning this is the only rotation in spirit because it connects to 1, 2, 3, 4 areas, but 1, 2, 3, 4 strings. Each string continues 2 ways. So if you continue the string, this is what you end up getting. More or less looks like HH, he'll know tells, right? Okay. So we did this. We had the rook. We all saw what the rook looked like, okay? Another thing I wanted to show is in darts, as in building a fence, a hexagon fence, where you put one line here and one line here, it's actually a Y if you take a look at it. One on the top, one on the bottom. You connect it together with this added 11 over here. If I would add these directly together, I would actually just get a square. By folding in the extension of the arms of the perfect square, which you can see right over here, there's still a nut, an area that is empty because of the coverage of the left and the right side, which are 2 different sides, 2 different sides, this side and this side. It can just almost be looking at it and saying, hey, look at that, half an octagon or something, okay? And at the same time, Uranus. Another thing I wanted to show you is the 2-part moons. When you take a 2-part moon, put one in here, and then put one on the other side, this is the shape you get. It ends up to be the Pontiac sign, which is the fox, the cunning fox, because he's in 2 worlds at the same time. That's what it shows me over here. So I take one double Y versus one double Y, and I end up with this, which ends up in this. Now, if you want to see what this looks like, okay. Oh, and the other one that comes out with that is this one here. Shows you the angles of the moons, the periods of the moons. But you know why moons have periods? Ask your wife. All right? So, here it is. This is the same thing. Do you know what this is? This is Mitsubishi. Somehow you have to plug in. See the way one eye on the owl is across and the other one is up? Because they share different. They may balance off, but there's nothing here. You can't be here and here at the same time, but in the mind, you can be everywhere. This is the Mitsubishi sign. One here, one here. This was the Mitsubishi. I just turned it out a little bit. You see this piece here and this piece here? Same thing. At the same time, do you know what this can be? This can be the, you know, the triangle that goes on the bottom of the spade or the club? Design this with a little pizzazz inside of it. You can turn it into how can I say it? You can turn it into whatever you want, even a spaceship. So let me look down this one aisle. I'm just going to show you a different way I was talking about. 146, here it goes. This is where Mission Mars comes to Mars. This is Einstein and Mars. 9 and 5 is 5. 5 and 1 is 6. Calling of the Wolf, 65. Also the right and left wing, because the word white, 7, and number 3 and number 7 all come to the same number, 65. And in pi, 3.1415929265 also says 11, 11, 11 in 3 different ways if you actually look at this. 1415 is 29, that's 11. And then you got 9, 2, that's 11, and 6 and 5 is 11. This is the white wolf. But when you put the total marking on it, it adds up to the division of 3 worlds. 1 and 5 is 6, 5 and 9 is 14, 146. These area codes, 416, 613, 514, these are very important area codes. Okay, and you can scramble them up if you want. But this has to do with the one spirit. 14 and 6 is green. This says go. This is Wolf calling Mars saying go, because this over here, 14, is on the cross, okay? And the 14 ball in pool is green, and the 6 ball is pool is green, and these are 8 apart. If I add up 1 to 14, it'll equal 105 minus 15 equals to 90. Okay, so that means there's an extra 56 over this that's not counted. Why? Because 1 over to 6, if I started from 6 to 14, from 6 to 14 it would add up to 105. But from 1 to 5 equals to 15. So 15, okay, take away 15, take away 146, excuse me, take away 105 equals to 90. But now if I go 90 plus 11 equals 101, and now we have reason to talk about 101. Okay, again, okay, the hole, bend over and let's look backwards. If you can see the hole in the donut, okay, meaning if there's a black, what does it mean to have black in the middle of that line that comes out? Is that going in one end, out the other end for Uranus? Okay, can you turn your head backwards and look this way? Again, this is another sign of Mitsubishi. These are all signs of Mitsubishi. This is the same stand that you see here. They both got the same stand. You see what's holding the club up? Mine's a little bit fancier. What else am I going to show you here? There's certain letters, like the letter V, that when you design the letter V next to, you make the word Venus all the same size letters. But if you notice, the E, the arm on the E is not actually an E over here because this arm is too long. In order to make this E, it must be on this angle. And you'll never be able to do anything but have this length. If you go forward, you have to go backwards. But if you go forward one way, you don't have to go backwards like this. You can actually go backwards like this. If one side has the point, the other side has this. If this side has that, this side has this. Always to make the loop to come back to go around again. Did you everybody hear that's the straight jackets? Straight jack, gay, lesbians, les, bien. This is not lesbians. Please, you're the third person who says that. It's les bien or les bien. Okay? This is for what you own. Okay? The golden age, the division of the straight jacket inside this body you can't get out of. Okay? We're not going to talk about ketchup, mustard, relish, coleslaw, cheese for hamburgers and hot dogs. We're not talking about, look, here's a new stand for the one-eyed man sitting inside the clubhouse because he's not a club, he's all in disguise. He's only some sort of plankton with one eye and 6 and 9 on each side protecting him. Okay? This, to make the V, okay, is actually a division. It's saying for stronger or softer sound, it is in French. It is the French markings for the letter E, and it shows you 2 different ways. But if you put it together, it becomes the cap, which is found on the 6th key. And on the 6th key, that cap ends up on the A letter in the French language. The other thing I wanted to say is your whole keyboard is an instrument of, it's a show. Did we do the pawns? Did we talk about Ponzi, pawn, P-A-W-N. We get a total of 54. The queen, okay. Why is it the queen? Because I'm assuming that instead of the hearts being able to match together, I'm assuming that piece. I'm assuming that piece that's in the center, okay, that at the pawn. I'm assuming these all belong to the queen, these things here. You're supposed to have this and some kind of loop that goes from this side to this side. That's what I'm assuming, okay? And don't forget, because I finished here, it doesn't mean it doesn't go around this way. This. Flip this over the other way. So this interferes these 2 sides. You're trying to think, but you're interfered with this. Your motherboard has been hacked inside your mind of the pineal gland. Should we call out the rook? You know it's number 2552, 625 divided by 625. So we end up with this, and again, Dennis the Menace, one more time. So we saw what that did We have the rook. We have the rook, and it reminds me of the oracle. The bishop is number 69, but the high and the low count of the bishop is 111. But if you really want to count the bishop, it's 267, 269, 278, 288, 296, 302, 309. If I'm right, bishop is 309. Is that right, Messer? Queen is 6226, which makes 88. She is the piano. She is the connection of gematria. And I've seen this before. But the king is number 41. And all the king does is connects you, all the king's men and all the king's horses. All they can do is go around the Monopoly board. And all they can do is each one can stand on a property. All the king's men and all the king's horses. How many are there? There are 16, all the king's men and horses. But don't count the king. There's 15. Don't count the queen. There's 14. All the king's men and all the king's horses, 14 ends up on the cross. Not only that, 14 ended up on the cross, and the cross is made up of an area that you can turn a spindle this way, turning 4, and this way, turning 4. But when it turns 4 and 4, it actually only turns 4 and 2 because it only has 6 sides, 6 and 14 again. From the pool ball inside to Rubik's Cube at 14 and 6, and also connecting to the to the king. The king in the short and the long count is 64, and that is XX. He connects to the two II men. He connects to the man 100%, this king. There's only 14, and there's not 14, okay? Because now there's groups, okay? 8 of them, okay, are pawns. 6 of them are something else. 3 things that are doubled. The bishop, the rook, and the knight. Bishop, rook, knight. Bishop, rook, knight. BRK 292. Okay, so now we have 14 of them. 8 and 6. 2 times 4. 2 plus 4 is 8 and 6. So the 8 becomes the rooks, and the 6, 2, 2, and 2 become the bishop. Okay, becomes part of the dog. 2, 2, 2 is the dog. 2, 2, 2 is the, is that right? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 222. So you have the bishop, you have 2 of them, and you have the rook, you have 2 of them, and you have the knight, you have 2 of them. 292. And each side has to have it. You only have a game if you use 2 sides. That means it takes 2 sides to make 1 game. So that means forget about the 16 pieces you used to have. It's now 32 pieces. And 2 are kings, and there's only 1 king of the house. And 2 are queens, and there's only 1 wife, and chess shows it. And then there's 4, 4, and 4. Time we come in, 4 by 4 is 64 is the size of the board. And then there's 8 and 8, 16 pieces. The letter P, the pawn, which lights up. So assuming that the pawn is the light, is the lighthouse. We know, for me, I turned the horse into a dragon. Maybe one horse is a horse, the other is a dragon. Let's call them both dragons. They're dragons because they go, how does the horse move? 2 and 1, 1 and 2, 12, 21. Just call them the dragons, 12, 21. Soccer. Soccer. And I don't like to say that I'm the first one to say it because I'm not. And I've mentioned it before, so I like to give myself a little bit of a tap on the back. But that guy with that special voice, I don't remember his name, he's doing it. Dabu something. Yeah, that's it. Dabu something. The something is the best part of it because he's usually bang on. It's just he reads very, very well. I mean, but who am I to count anything? So now we're talking about the rook, the bishop, and instead of having a 32 and a board of 64, in which is 32 of color A and color B, 32. And the chess game comes with an edge, okay? Always remember the edge, okay? So there's 32 pieces on 64 equals to 96. And when you start the game, okay, there are free spaces. Just like Monopoly says free space or free parking, there's free space. Parking. Okay, so there's free space, and there's 32 free spaces, and that says the back door. And the free space that you have at 32 is actually, you need that space to drive in to park your car. You need more space to drive into a parking lot to park your car than you actually need for the car to be parked. So if every parking lot was filled up with all the space that they actually can use, putting it on racks, you don't need as much space. Now we were talking about the parking, and I forgot. That's right. It's a wrap. 719. Okay. King. 18 holes, 4 to each hole. That's what they give this average here. 72. But when you go to amateur, it's 9 holes. And it's par 3. And it's always 27. And 27 is always red. See how close it connects? I don't care if it's 71. I don't care if it's 70, because 70 says the family. I don't care if it's 73. Because all these numbers are the same numbers. You can't tell me any other numbers. 1 to 26 in the alphabet is 27. Always count the other one twice. When you put an elastic band on your finger, do you count half the finger, hold the finger? The other thing I wanted to mention about this amateur is amateur sports. I'm going to say something right now, and I should never put my nose into it. But I will, because I could. And because I'm not out to get anybody. But this is my calculation. Let's just do something. Out of 100 people that play sports, whether it's going skiing, whether it's playing hockey, football, it doesn't matter. What is the amount of money that the sports stores, or the ones who create all the equipment, or what are the profits in the sports industries compared to how much we're actually giving away in salaries to professional sports athletes? What is the balance of that? Because don't forget, the guys who own the teams may have owned the part of that sports, something in the sports industry where he's making enough money to buy the team. So if he's making enough with that, we need to keep the amateurs playing the sports in order to pay for the professionals. So when your 13-year-old kid or 10-year-old kid is going to play whatever sport he is, he's now supporting the higher sport. Otherwise, for sure, they'd have no money. Anyways, that was all about golf. G-O-L-F. Okay? Golf is a gateway where you put the ball in the mind of the thinker. Because in golf, we end up with the wolf. You ever see the fox on the golf course? How about the golf, the log, or the trees that are in between? Whatever there is in golf, there will be sand traps. A-N-D, N equals to A-D equals to the word and DNA at the same time. Sand and spirit heaven, built by little pebbles in our bodies. This is, did you see this bow tie here? How about if we really get out and we see if she's watching us? You think she's watching us? Here she is, her 2 eyes, her nose, her body, the 2 little pigs on each side. How do you want to look at them? Her 2 arms, she's spread out, and she's got her thing right there. What if we called this Uranus? Or that other marking for Uranus, because it's right in the center. Let's say it's dead center, right? The delta angle. Because the minute this line penetrates this one over here, this becomes the delta angle. This shape becomes the letter double D, but it's the opposition. You think this is the pig? I don't know. I'm just bringing things up, like I said. TV that you didn't want to watch to begin with. So what I tried to do in this video, okay, is connect back to your chess pieces, where the amount of chess pieces that I mentioned 2 minutes ago of the spaces were 32 spaces. Okay, the king is only allowed to move once in any which way. It's the only one that can move any which way, but it's a one-time move. It's a one-time deal. So let's bring it up one more time. How many pawns do we have? We have 16, and that gives the light. We have 32, take away 2 queens and 2 kings. It gives us 28. Time, heaven. A, first, second, third, fourth. Time, heaven. The first move is the first move of the game. Nothing happens on the first move of the game. Time, heaven. That's how you get that number 28 is time, heaven. But the minute that first one moves on a choice of 1 or on a choice of 2, if he makes a choice of 2, a man can now be put into jeopardy. If he makes a choice of 1, there may not be jeopardy between the 2 men. I'm assuming that's what it means. See the way I made the curvature? 0, 9. 0, 9 creates these. 0, 9 will create this. 0, 9 creates this. You have to assume it because of the even balance to the 2 sides. Okay? It's just amazing. The night gives you 102. Okay? Which means 102, okay, which is JBV. Jack Beta Life. The B world life is inside the night. Okay? And the knight, isn't that the horse? And I always call him the dragon. I don't know why. So anyways, Rook is what gives you the electric. The IT world is in the Rook because of these numbers, 5 and 4. There are 4 Rooks, and he's got number 5. The actual number to the Rook is 82. Time, heaven. It works out perfectly. Absolutely perfectly with Mars. Absolutely perfectly. So when you look at what the actual answer is, did I show you what it is? Rook is 82, right? Oh, excuse me. It's time, heaven, but it's not 82. It's 59. The short count, which is the single count inside Rook, is 23. The way Messer would do this is 177 plus 23 would probably say 200. Is that correct? Rook would be 200, which to my world would say 266, which would be 72, which would be a complete cycle of electricity. It's absolutely perfect. Okay? Absolutely perfect. So 59, 5 and 9 is 14, 1 and 4 is 5. So you end up with 5. You got 4 pieces. Okay? So this would be your electric company because the 4 pieces, 4 by 5 equals to the 20 world. All you got to do is all the way around. Or it's a half. A comma, or that bracket, is a half and valued to 20. You put 2 of them together, you create one I. Anyways, I'm not going to get more into that. The pawn also shows something to do with the satellite system and the moon. And one of the reasons for that is because this number here connects a cycle. Okay, 1 to 36 equals 37. This is the queen. This is the gematria. This is connecting the 2 sides of the piano. You put them together, it creates the it world. Okay, you put underneath it the short count of 18. Why is there a short count of 18? 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 and 5 is 18, and 54 for the sun is 72. 72 is also based on 72 times 5 degrees equals 360 degrees, which is 1 part of the eye. 1 part of the eye. 1 part of the eye. Okay? We built this city. We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll. Anyways, for me, it's all true, and we're still in a countdown, and we're still in danger time. We have to remember, this is the way I look at it, okay? Remember what I said? Our children and us, we pay for the rich today for today. What you spend today for whoever you see rich, we did it for them. So thank yourself. What I just want to remember is your strongest hold in this world right now is your friends. Distance is your enemy. I'm assuming. Distance is the enemy. You want to know your neighbor. This is the best time to know your friends and your neighbors right now. Communication, kindness, and support. This is the summer we waited 2,000 years for. You're going to ask me how come? Let's wait till the end, and then I'd rather you say to me, nothing came that you said, but I didn't say anything. This is what I see. And it's not only me. There's a lot of us, tons, millions. Millions are seeing the same thing. But most of us don't speak. And I'm speaking because I'm not shy to tell you what I feel, what I read, what I believe, and that's all that counts. That's all I have to count, is what I believe, and I just bless everybody. Everybody, do you want to see my cat sleeping? We're going to say Raphael 7286 in the constellation of Pegasus. Thank you for watching this video. Wow, look at the what's it called? The sunlight. Look what the sunlight does. Isn't that cool? Thank you for watching the video.